What is up, everybody? Khabib versus Tony for the 5th time. Is it gonna happen? I sure hope so. I know you hope so. April 18th, it's going down at Brooklyn, New York. Cannot wait for this fight. This fight is gonna go down arguably as the greatest lightweight fight, should both guys come in prepared, injury-free. Again, let's hope. Every day I'm like praying to the MMA gods. No one has a broken finger, no one has weight issues, and everyone is happy and prepared, and they both go into the cage ready for war. Now, the elephant in the room before we start talking fight predictions is the possibility of Conor McGregor and Khabib fighting. Dana White keeps talking to TMZ and reporters all the time saying how he's trying to wait for Conor and book the fight with Conor and Khabib. Like, I don't understand how you can think that that's a possibility in the very near future. Now, look at the possibilities of this most likely not happening. First of all, Tony could beat Khabib, right? Tony Ferguson can go in there and very well beat Khabib. I think personally he's going to beat him. But should Khabib even win? I mean, I'm taking words out of other people's professionals' mouths, like Brandon Schaub and Joe Rogan. Should Khabib win this fight, he's not leaving that cage 100%. He's going to have cuts, he's going to be bruised, he's going to be hurt. Not only that, let's say he does leave the cage, he knocks out Tony Ferguson in the first round and he's completely healthy. Ramadan is right after that, and we all know Khabib does not fight during Ramadan season. And another thing we should look at is Conor just fought like a couple months ago. Is he willing to wait this long for Khabib? I think he's going to get the fighting itch. I personally think they have something planned already in the works, possibly in Dublin, but most likely in Vegas too for Conor in July or August. I just don't think Conor is willing to wait for Khabib. Even though he wants him, I just don't think he's going to wait until the end of the year to face him. Again, should he beat Tony Ferguson? Now, I think Tony's going to beat him, and then if Tony beats him, another thing they're expecting, and Conor is too, Dana White said it, is he's thinking that one of these guys is going to pull out of the fight last minute, and he's going to jump in and fight him. Personally, I don't think that's a risky decision unless Conor's really training hard right now and preparing for a Khabib or a Tony, because I think he needs all the time and focus he can get. He was magnificent against Cowboy in his return fight from his Khabib loss. He looked sharp, ready to go, and fully focused, laser focused in there, and you saw what happened. We saw the old school Conor coming in there and just completely destroyed Cowboy, and people expected and hoped that it was going to be more competitive. That wasn't the case, and we saw the Conor of old, which is good news for Conor going forward. Now, going into the fight predictions, I don't see how Khabib wins this fight. I mean, there's one way he can win this fight, and that's if he can smother Tony on the floor and finish him off, possibly in the later rounds, or get a via decision. I think his best way to win this fight is via decision, just by mauling him on the ground like he's done his past fights. Now, Tony should be no different, right? He's done this to 28 other people. 29th should be no different. But Tony can go into this fight with so many options in his toolkit. We don't know what kind of Tony we're going to get, what kind of style. He can stand there and trade punches. He has the cardio to outlast Khabib, if not stay toe-to-toe with him in the 5th round. He has wicked submissions taught by the great Eddie Bravo. He's a black belt under his name at the 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu. But Eddie Bravo recently was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and Joe wanted to ask him, without giving too much away, what are you guys planning? And Eddie Bravo said, we're setting up traps. We're setting up traps for the Darce choke. We're setting up traps to take, we're going to give up positions just so we can get a bigger and better position and a possible finish going forward. Tony and his team can do that. He has the skills to set up traps, if you will. Khabib, we know what he's bringing to the table. He's going to go in there, jab a little bit, and he's going to look for a double leg or a single leg and take you to the floor and just smother you on the floor. Is that a good position for him with Tony Ferguson? Like I said, this guy can set you up with Darce chokes, any kinds of chokes he wants off the floor. And Tony's the crazy wild man, and a good kind of crazy, I'm telling you. He can just go in there and go on his back and just tell Khabib to go on top of him. And we're going to see what kind of groundwork Tony's going to work with Khabib on the floor. I think Tony's going to finish him. I think Tony's going to finish him in the later rounds. Once they're both a little bit fatigued, Khabib is going to get a takedown in, maybe in the 4th or 5th. And we're going to see a possible submission from Tony Ferguson, which will set up a future fight in the later year against Conor McGregor. Now, Conor McGregor, I also think he's going to face Justin Gaethje in the summertime. But again, time will tell on what's going to happen there. But first things first, we got to get Khabib and Tony into the cage. No more injuries, no more excuses, no more weight issues. Let's see, mano a mano, who's the best guy in there. This is the greatest lightweight fight of all time. It very well could be. But again, we got to see these two go into the cage and fight. And I think we're going to see a hell of a fight. What are your predictions? Who do you think is going to fight Conor McGregor next? And do you even think this fight's going to happen? I hope it happens. The MMA gods, if you're listening, let's make this fight happen. Let's get these two guys in there, and hope to see you guys in April 18th, Brooklyn, New York. Let's do it. UFC. Tony Ferguson, El Kukui on a 12-fight win streak against the undefeated Khabib, the Eagle, Nurmagomedov. Let's get it, folks. Here we go. Tony Ferguson in 4 rounds. Here we go. See you guys there.